The stars were peaceful that night, floating like quiet lanterns over a sleeping galaxy. For centuries, humans had lived in their small corner of space, far from the great alien empires that ruled the stars. They built their homes on distant worlds, mined asteroids, and dreamed of peace. But peace never lasts long in the universe. It began without warning. Giant alien ships appeared in human space, black metal beasts moving like shadows through the void. They spoke no words. They sent no warnings. Their first message was made of fire. Human colonies vanished within hours, burning under waves of plasma. Whole cities were erased, leaving behind only dust and silence. The humans called them the Zoltrons, an old alien race that believed humans were a mistake of creation. They said humans did not deserve the stars. At first, Earth's forces tried to fight back. Fleets of ships were sent into the dark. Thousands of brave soldiers went out hoping to defend their worlds. But the Zoltrons were older, faster, and crueler. Every battle ended with fire and loss. Among those soldiers was Captain Ryan Hale, a man known for his courage more than his rank. He wasn't the strongest or the smartest, but he had something most had forgotten. He believed that no fight was hopeless. His ship, the Resolute, was small, carrying only a few dozen people, but they had survived battles that others couldn't. Some said Ryan had luck on his side. Others said fate had plans for him. The turning point came when humans discovered the Void Gate. It was an ancient relic, a massive ring floating near the edge of known space, older than any star around it. No one knew who built it or why, but when the Zoltrons found out humans had touched it, they grew afraid. They said it was forbidden, that it belonged to something beyond even their gods. Ryan didn't believe in their superstitions. To him, the Void Gate was a chance and maybe a weapon, maybe an escape. But before he could uncover its truth, the Zoltron fleet surrounded his ship, 100 warships against one small cruiser. His crew fought bravely, but they knew it was over. When the battle ended, Ryan stood on the ruined deck of the Resolute, watching as the enemy prepared their punishment. They didn't kill him. Death, they said, was too easy for a human who dared touch the forbidden. Instead, they opened the Void Gate, a swirling tunnel of white and black light, and cast him inside. Ryan's body fell through endless darkness. He couldn't breathe. He couldn't think. Time stopped existing. His mind screamed, but no sound came. He was falling through nothing, through the space between all worlds. It should have killed him, but it didn't. Somewhere inside that emptiness, something saw him. A presence. A voice older than the stars. It wasn't human. It wasn't alien. It was something far beyond both. The voice whispered through his mind, gentle and cold. You were not meant to die here. Ryan opened his eyes, and for the first time he saw her. A figure standing in the center of the void, glowing with faint violet light. Her eyes were endless, like galaxies spinning inside them. She was beautiful and terrifying at once, neither human nor Zoltron. The void, she said softly, does not destroy. It transforms. Ryan didn't know if he was alive, dreaming, or already dead, but as the figure reached out her hand, the light around him changed. His broken armor mended itself. His breath returned. The pain vanished. In that moment he understood, the war wasn't over. It had only begun. Ryan stood at the edge of nothing. Around him stretched an endless sea of light and shadow, twisting and folding like smoke made of stars. He tried to speak, but his voice vanished before it could reach his ears. The air wasn't real here. The space wasn't space. It was something deeper, a place where even time had no meaning. The glowing figure moved closer. She was tall and graceful, her form shifting like mist. Her eyes shone with soft violet light that seemed to cut through the darkness around him. When she spoke, her voice was calm, echoing inside his mind rather than his ears. You should not be here, she said. No living being ever returns from the void. Ryan swallowed hard. Then why am I still alive? Her gaze lingered on him for a long moment before she replied. Because the void has chosen you. He didn't understand. The words made no sense. The void chose him? He was just a soldier, a man who had lost everything. He remembered his ship burning, his crew dying, the faces of his friends fading into light. He felt anger rise in his chest. The void took everything from me, he said. If this is a choice, it's not mine. The woman's expression softened. You see only what was taken, not what can be given. The ground beneath him shifted, or maybe it wasn't ground at all. It felt like he was walking on light, each step rippling through the darkness. Shapes began to form around them, stars, planets, broken ships, and swirling clouds of cosmic dust. He saw entire galaxies folding in and out of existence as if reality itself was breathing. "Who are you?" he asked finally. "I was once known as the Empress of the Void," she said quietly, "but my empire fell long before your kind learned to walk among the stars. Now I am only what remains, a whisper between worlds." Her words carried both power and sadness. Ryan looked at her closely. She seemed human, yet not. Her skin shimmered faintly with patterns of light like constellations moving beneath her surface. She was beautiful in a way that was hard to describe, not just by appearance but by presence. "If you are the Empress," he said, "then why am I here?" "Because you touched the gate," she replied. "That relic is a wound between worlds. The Zoltrons feared it because they remembered what it was made to do. The gate opens only for those who seek truth, or vengeance." Ryan's hands clenched. "They destroyed my people. They burnt my home. If the gate can help me stop them, then I'll use it." The Empress looked into his eyes. "You speak with pain, but pain alone cannot shape destiny. The void does not give power to destroy. It gives the power to change." Before he could answer, light flared around them. The entire space trembled. He felt something pulling at him, like gravity, like time itself trying to drag him back. The Empress reached out and touched his forehead. Her touch was cold yet comforting. "When you wake," she said softly, "remember what you have seen. The void is part of you now. You will walk between light and shadow. But know this: every gift has a price." The light exploded, blinding him completely. When Ryan opened his eyes again, he was lying on solid ground. The air was real, cold, sharp, and heavy with the scent of ash. He stood up slowly, looking around. The stars above were strange. The sky shimmered with faint purple hues, and the ground was covered with black glass. His armor was whole again, stronger than before. The cracks were gone, replaced by glowing lines that pulsed with dim light. His body felt different, heavier but more powerful. He could hear faint whispers like echoes following him, and then he saw it, far away on the horizon, a burning fleet of alien ships, torn apart and falling from the sky. Ryan's heart pounded. Somewhere deep inside he felt her voice again. "They banished you, human, but now, you return as something more." Ryan stood on the black glass plain, watching the burning alien ships crash in the distance. The night sky glowed with strange colors, violet, blue, and silver, swirling like a storm of energy above him. He could feel the void pulsing inside him, a quiet heartbeat that was not his own. He took a step forward, and the ground responded. The glass rippled like water, glowing faintly beneath his boots. Every movement felt powerful, too controlled, as if something was helping him move. He tried to understand what had happened. He should have been dead, but now he was standing on a world that wasn't on any star map. Then he heard her voice again. It was calm, distant, and filled with quiet strength. "You are not lost, Ryan Hale. You are reborn. The void flows through you now." He looked up. The voice of the Void Empress echoed in his mind. Her words carried both comfort and warning. "What am I supposed to do?" he asked aloud. His voice sounded strange, like it echoed in two worlds at once. "Return," she said simply. "The gate still listens to you. It will open when you are ready. But remember, the power you carry is not meant for destruction. It is meant for balance." Ryan wasn't sure what that meant, but balance didn't matter to him now, not yet. All he could think about were the people who died, the friends he lost, and the aliens who had laughed as they cast him into the void. As he walked across the glowing plain, he noticed something in the distance, a massive stone arch rising out of the ground. It looked old, older than any civilization he had ever seen. Strange symbols glowed faintly across its surface, matching the light patterns on his armor. He knew what it was. The Void Gate. Somehow it existed here too. Maybe it was the same one. Maybe it was its reflection. Either way, he felt drawn to it. When he touched the arch, the world around him changed. The sky brightened, the ground trembled, and the air filled with a deep humming sound. A circle of light opened before him, the same swirling tunnel that had once been his prison. But this time it felt different. It felt alive. Ryan took a deep breath. He stepped forward. The moment he entered the gate, light wrapped around him. His body dissolved into energy, and the universe stretched and folded like paper. He didn't know how long it lasted. Maybe seconds, maybe centuries. And then, with a flash, he was gone. When he opened his eyes again, he was standing in space. Not floating, standing. A glowing platform beneath his feet kept him steady. All around him, shattered ships drifted silently. He saw the wrecks of human and Zoltron vessels frozen in the cold dark. In the distance, a small patrol ship approached, alien design, with glowing blue engines and sharp metal wings. It hadn't seen him yet. Ryan lifted his hand to signal, but something else happened. The air rippled and a shockwave of purple light shot out from his palm. The ship stopped instantly. Its engines froze, lights flickered, and the metal cracked as if space itself was bending around it. Ryan lowered his hand, shocked. "What did I just do?" The Empress's voice answered softly inside his mind. "You called the void, it listens to your will. But remember, power obeys emotion. Control it or it will consume you." Ryan clenched his fist and took a deep breath. He had no choice now. The Zoltrons would know soon that he was back. They would come for him again, maybe with an entire fleet. But this time he wasn't the same man they had thrown into the gate. He looked at the stars, at the endless dark, and felt something new rising inside him. Not fear, not anger, purpose. The human they had banished to die in the void was gone. The man who returned was something far greater, and the universe was about to learn why. The silence of space surrounded Ryan as he stood on the broken remains of a ship drifting through the void. The wreckage floated endlessly, lit by the faint glow of dying stars. He had been gone for what felt like an eternity, yet everything still smelled of war, burnt metal, ash, and loss. Far away, a small alien cruiser approached slowly. It was shaped like a blade, sharp and bright, moving cautiously through the wreck field. Ryan could see its lights blinking across the darkness. He knew that design. It was Zoltron, the same species that had cast him into the void. He took a deep breath. His heart pounded, but not from fear. It was something else, the strange energy that lived inside him now. The void whispered quietly in the back of his mind, a soft hum that answered his emotions. The cruiser stopped when it detected movement. Scanners flickered across the wreckage. Inside, alien officers began to shout in their language. They saw him, a lone figure standing unprotected in the emptiness of space, glowing faintly with violet light. "How can that be?" one of them said. "No human can survive in the void." The captain leaned forward, staring at the screen. "That's impossible. He looks alive." Ryan slowly raised his hand, signaling for peace. He didn't want another battle. But the aliens panicked. Bright plasma bolts fired from the ship, cutting across the black. The explosions tore through the wrecks, scattering debris around him. The shockwaves hit his armor, but he didn't fall. The energy passed through him like wind through smoke. Ryan closed his eyes. The hum in his head grew louder. He didn't mean to fight, but the void reacted anyway. A wave of purple energy burst from his body, silent but powerful. It spread out in a circle, bending light and sound. When it touched the alien ship, everything stopped. The engines died. The weapons froze mid-fire. The hull cracked as gravity twisted around it. Then, in one final flash, the ship broke apart. Not exploded, but unraveled, as if time itself had let it fall apart piece by piece. When the light faded, there was only quiet again. Small pieces of metal floated around him like snow. Ryan looked at his hands, shaking. He hadn't even tried to destroy them. The power had acted on its own. "Why did you do that?" he whispered to himself. The Empress's voice came softly through the silence. "Because they attacked. The void protects its own. I didn't want to kill them," he said. "I just wanted them to stop." "The void does not understand mercy," she replied gently. "It understands balance. You must teach it what your heart desires, or it will decide for you." Ryan closed his eyes again, trying to calm himself. He didn't feel human anymore. His body felt strong, but his soul felt heavier. The Empress had given him life, but also something far greater and far more dangerous. He drifted toward the broken pieces of the ship. Through the shattered metal, he saw a small escape pod still intact. Its lights were blinking weakly. Someone had survived. Ryan pulled the pod closer with a thought. The void obeyed like a loyal shadow. When he opened the hatch, a young alien soldier fell out, gasping for air. His green skin shimmered under the faint starlight, his eyes wide with terror. "Please," the alien begged. "Don't kill me." Ryan looked at him quietly. "I'm not here to kill you. I need answers. The alien trembled, confused. "What are you?" he whispered. Ryan paused, his eyes glowing faintly in the dark. "A human," he said softly. "At least, I was." The alien's breath caught. "The one they banished? That's not possible. You should be dead?" Ryan finished for him. "I was, but something brought me back." The alien's voice shook. "If that's true, then the Zoltron Empire is already doomed." Ryan's eyes narrowed. "Then maybe it's time they know that." Ryan watched the small alien soldier inside the escape pod. The young creature's hands trembled as he tried to breathe. His eyes kept staring at Ryan's glowing armor, afraid to even move. For a long time, neither of them spoke. Only the quiet hum of the void filled the silence. "Calm down," Ryan said softly. "I'm not your enemy." The alien shook his head. "Humans don't come back from the void. It changes everything it touches." Ryan looked down at his hands. The light in his armor pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. "You're right," he said. "It changed me, but I didn't ask for it." The alien looked at him carefully. "Then why are you here?" "To end what they started," Ryan answered. "I'm going to find the Zoltron High Command." The alien's face turned pale. "You can't. They control half the galaxy. If they learn you're alive, they'll burn every world just to stop you." Ryan smiled faintly. "Then let them try." Before the alien could answer, Ryan heard her voice again, soft, smooth, and echoing deep inside his mind. "You are letting anger guide you again." He froze. The Empress's presence surrounded him like a shadow. Her tone was calm but firm. "I'm not angry," he said quietly. "I'm just doing what must be done." "You speak of justice, but your heart burns with vengeance," she replied. "If you follow that path, the void will consume you. It always does." Ryan turned away from the pod, clenching his fists. "Then what do you want from me?" "I want you to understand," the Empress said. "You and I are bound now. The void chose you, just as it once chose me. But power without purpose is only chaos." Her words lingered in his mind long after her voice faded. He didn't want to admit it, but she was right. Every time he felt anger, the void responded, wild and destructive. He had to learn control, or the power would destroy everything around him. He looked back at the alien. "What's your name?" The soldier hesitated, then said, "Kyle." "Kyle," Ryan said slowly. "You're going to help me. I need a ship, and I need to know where the Zoltrons are keeping their fleets." Kale hesitated. "If they find out I helped you, they'll kill me." Ryan's expression softened. "Then don't let them find out." Reluctantly, Kale nodded. Together, they worked inside the escape pod. It was small and damaged, but with the void's strange energy, Ryan could make it move again. He placed his hand on the controls and purple light spread through the metal. Circuits repaired themselves. The engine hummed back to life. Kale stared in awe. "How are you doing that?" "The void helps," Ryan said. "It listens when I ask." The pod lifted off, gliding smoothly through the wreckage. Ryan watched the stars ahead. Stars that once felt distant, but now seemed to call his name. He didn't know where the Empress truly was, but he could still feel her presence, whispering through the static of space. "There is balance in all things," she said gently. "Even vengeance can serve a purpose if your heart stays pure." He didn't answer. He just stared at the stars, lost in thought. Far away, in another part of the galaxy, news of his return began to spread. Alien communication networks buzzed with reports of a glowing human destroying ships near the Void Gate. Some called him a ghost. Others called him a weapon of the dark. But among the Zoltron leaders, the word they used most often was fear. In the High Council chamber of the Zoltron Empire, the Supreme Commander listened to the reports with cold silence. "A human returned from the void," he said slowly. "Then the legends were true." He turned toward his generals. "Find him, before the Void Empress finds him first." Back in the escape pod, Ryan didn't know that the entire Empire was already hunting him. He only knew one thing. The void had given him a second life, and he would use it to change the galaxy forever. The small escape pod moved quietly through deep space, far from any trade routes or known systems. Ryan sat in the pilot seat, staring into the dark ahead. The stars shimmered like cold fire, silent witnesses to what was coming. Kale sat behind him, nervous and restless. "They'll be searching for us," he said. "You don't understand how the Zoltron Empire works. They'll send hunters, assassins, even fleets if they must." Ryan didn't look back. "Let them come," he said quietly. "I faced death once. I don't fear it anymore." Kale frowned. "You should. The ones they'll send aren't ordinary soldiers. They are called the Shadows of the Throne. No one survives when they are sent." Ryan smiled faintly. "Then it's time someone did." The hum of the void filled the small ship, faint but constant like a heartbeat under the metal floor. It made Kale uneasy, but Ryan had grown used to it. Sometimes he could almost hear whispers in it, words that weren't words, just feelings that guided him. After several hours, the sensors began to beep. Kale looked up sharply. "Something's following us." Ryan checked the screen. 3 fast-moving signatures were closing in. The readings were sharp and precise. Zoltron ships built for speed and stealth. "They found us," Kale said in fear. "How? We're not sending any signals." "They don't need signals," Ryan said calmly. "They can smell fear." He switched the pod into manual control and turned sharply toward a nearby asteroid field. The small ship shook as it entered the rocks, dodging spinning debris and flashes of light. Behind them, the alien ships followed like silent predators. Ryan closed his eyes for a moment. The hum of the void grew stronger. He could feel it waiting, wanting to act. But this time, he tried something different. Instead of letting it take control, he spoke to it silently. "Help me," he whispered in his mind. The ship responded instantly. The metal of the pod began to glow faintly with purple light, and the engines roared with power they didn't have before. The ship moved faster, weaving through the asteroids like it was alive. Kale stared in shock. "What are you doing?" "I'm not sure," Ryan said. "But it's working." The alien ships fired bursts of plasma, but each shot missed as if the space around Ryan's ship bent out of the way. The void was protecting him. The asteroids around them shifted and collided, blocking enemy paths. One of the alien ships struck a rock and exploded silently in a burst of blue flame. The other 2 tried to retreat, but it was too late. Ryan lifted, his hand slightly, and space itself seemed to ripple. A shockwave of invisible energy pushed outward. The ships vanished, not destroyed, just gone, erased from space like they never existed. Kyle sat frozen. "You didn't even touch them." Ryan looked at his hand, unsure. "I didn't mean to do that." Before Kale could answer, the Empress's voice filled the cabin, soft, distant, and full of power. "You are learning," she said. "The void listens to you now. But you still fight against it." Ryan looked up. "I don't want to be a weapon." "You were never meant to be," she replied gently. "But every power becomes a weapon when the heart that holds it is unsteady." Kyle looked around, confused. "Who are you talking to?" Ryan didn't answer. He just stared out the window as the asteroid field faded behind them. His thoughts were heavy, full of questions and doubts. The void had saved him again, but at what cost? Far away, on the capital world of the Zoltron Empire, the Supreme Commander stood before a group of armored figures. Their faces were hidden behind dark helmets. "The human lives," the commander said coldly. 3 hunters have already vanished. Find him, bring me his body, or what's left of it." The shadows of the throne bowed in silence, then vanished into the dark. Back in the small ship, Ryan felt a sudden chill. He didn't know why, but the void inside him whispered a warning. Something was coming, something powerful, and this time it wasn't fear that filled him. It was readiness. The stars were quiet again. Too quiet. Ryan sat in the pilot seat staring at the scanners. No signals, no movement, only the endless dark of space. yet deep inside he could feel it. A faint pull, a pressure in the air that told him he was being watched. Kyle sat beside him, eyes wide. Something's wrong. They're near. I can feel it, Ryan nodded slowly. They're here. He didn't know how he knew, but the void inside him whispered warnings like the rhythm of a heartbeat. Every few seconds, a soft voice in his head said, "Closer, closer, they come." He stood up and walked to the airlock. "Stay inside," he told Kale, "no matter what happens." Kale grabbed his arm. "You can't fight the shadows alone. They don't bleed, they don't speak, and no one's ever seen their faces." Ryan gave a small smile. Then maybe it's time they saw mine. The door opened with a hiss. Ryan stepped out into the cold emptiness of space. His armor shimmered faintly with violet light, casting long reflections across the hull. Around him, the stars began to fade as three shapes emerged from the dark. Black ships, silent and sleek, gliding forward like predators. The shadows of the throne had arrived. Their ship stopped just a few meters away. Three figures appeared, stepping out without suits, their bodies wrapped in dark energy. Their armor was made of living metal that rippled like liquid shadow. No faces, no eyes. Only glowing red symbols where their helmets should be. One of them spoke, his voice echoing like steel scraping against stone. "Human, you should not exist." Ryan's voice was calm. "You threw me into the void. You should have made sure I stayed there." Another hunter stepped forward. "The void belongs to no mortal. You have stolen power that is forbidden." Ryan looked down at his glowing hands. "I didn't steal it. It found me." The first hunter raised his weapon, a blade that looked like it was made of pure darkness. "Then you die with it." They attacked at once, moving faster than light. But Ryan didn't move. He simply raised his hand and the void around him awakened. Space twisted, slowing the attackers mid-motion. Their blades stopped inches from his armor, frozen in a wave of distortion. Ryan's eyes glowed brighter. "You don't understand," he said softly. "You can't kill something the void already owns." He pushed forward. The shockwave that followed was silent but immense. The hunters were thrown backward, their armor cracking under invisible pressure. One of them vanished into dust. The others struggled, trying to fight back, but the space around them refused to obey. Ryan wasn't sure how he was doing it. The void wasn't just power, and it was alive, reacting to his every thought. Each emotion made it stronger. Then the Empress's voice filled his mind again. "Stop, Ryan." He hesitated. The void energy burned through his veins, begging to finish the fight. "You are not here to destroy," she said firmly. "You are here to awaken." Ryan took a deep breath. The energy slowed. The light dimmed. The last hunter fell to his knees, gasping. His armor cracked, revealing pale green skin underneath. His voice shook. "What are you?" Ryan looked at him quietly. "I'm the proof that your masters were wrong." The hunter tried to stand, but Ryan touched his shoulder. The void flared softly, not killing but erasing the pain. The hunter looked shocked as his wounds healed. "Go back," Ryan said. "Tell your empire I'm coming. And tell them I'm not alone." The hunter disappeared into a shimmer of light, leaving only silence behind. Kale rushed out from the ship, staring at the empty space. "You let him go?" Ryan nodded slowly. "Fear spreads faster than fire. One survivor is enough." He turned to look at the stars. They shimmered faintly with strange energy. Somewhere far away he could feel the Empress's presence growing stronger, watching him, guiding him. Her voice came again, calm and powerful. "Soon they will understand, Ryan. The void does not destroy. It reclaims what was lost." Ryan's eyes glowed softly. "Then let's reclaim everything." The silence of space was never truly silent. Ryan could feel the hum of the void everywhere now. In the stars, in the metal walls of the ship, even in his heartbeat. It was as if the universe itself was breathing with him. Kale stood behind him, watching the scanners flicker with strange symbols. "Ryan," he said softly, "something's happening." "The stars, they're moving." Ryan stepped closer to the window. The stars weren't moving. They were bending, curving around something massive that was approaching. Space rippled like water, and from that endless black, light began to bloom, slow at first, then bright as a sunrise. A figure appeared within the glow, the Void Empress. She walked out of the distortion as if the stars themselves were her throne. Her armor shimmered with every color of the cosmos, violet, silver, blue, and white. Her long dark hair floated weightlessly, and her eyes burned with warmth and endless depth. She wasn't terrifying. She was beautiful, calm, and filled with power that felt ancient and kind. Ryan dropped to one knee without realizing it. "You came," he whispered. Her voice was gentle, echoing through his mind. "I never left. You were the bridge, Ryan. You opened the path between worlds Kale couldn't move." He stared in awe. "She's real," he whispered. "The Void Empress is real." The Empress turned her eyes toward him and smiled softly. "All things in the void are real, child. Even hope." Around them, the space began to shimmer. Dozens of bright lights appeared in the distance, alien warships. The Zoltron Empire had arrived. Their leader's voice came through the comms, cold and angry. "Human, you've brought a curse to our skies. Return the Void Empress or your world dies." Ryan looked at the Empress. "What do we do?" She raised her hand and the light around her brightened until the ship stopped moving. "They cannot destroy what they do not understand," she said. The alien commander screamed through the speakers, "You cannot fight the Empire." The Empress's expression softened. "Who said anything about fighting?" She floated forward, stepping into the open space. The stars bent around her, the light shimmering like ripples in a dream. Then without a sound, she spoke a word that echoed across every ship, every mind, every soul. "Remember." Suddenly, the Zoltrons froze, their minds filled with memories they didn't know they had. Images of stars being born, of worlds rising and falling, of the first promise between the void and the light. They remembered what they once were, beings of balance, not greed. The commander fell to his knees inside his ship, tears streaming down his face. We forgot." Ryan watched as the fleet slowly lowered their weapons. The Empress turned to him. "You see now, Ryan, the void does not destroy life. It restores what time and war have taken." He nodded slowly. "Then what happens now?" She smiled. "Now you choose. You can return to your world or stay and help me guide this one." Ryan looked at the endless stars, at the ships now drifting peacefully, at Kale, who still stared in disbelief. His heart was heavy but calm. "I've seen what hate can do. Maybe it's time someone stayed behind to make sure it doesn't happen again." The Empress reached out her hand. "Then walk with me, Guardian of the Void." He took her hand. A wave of light surrounded them both, calm, pure, infinite. The ships around them turned toward the distant stars, now glowing brighter than before. Kale whispered quietly to himself, "He's gone." But deep down, he knew Ryan wasn't lost. He was home. From that day, the galaxy spoke of the man who returned from nothingness and stood beside the Empress of the Void, the one who turned fear into peace, the one who made even the stars remember. And somewhere, far beyond the edge of all things, two figures walked together through the endless light, a human and an Empress, forever guardians of the balance between creation and the dark.